My name's Christian Head. I'm 25 years old, and this is my story. Yeah, so prior to breaking my back, really I just ran and I did a little bit of like body weight cross training. So I had actually ran a couple half marathons and things like that, and I really enjoyed running. And I actually found out that I broke my back, I guess it was maybe a month or so away from running a half marathon in DC that I had been really looking forward to. And so I actually ran that half marathon with a broken back like 5 days before I had my spinal fusion. On October 10th of 2013, I was lifting a patient on a stretcher, and I did it the wrong way, and I lifted with my back and not my legs, and I ended up breaking my back, but I didn't know that at the time. At work, they ended up taking me to the hospital, and at the hospital, they told me that I probably just pulled a muscle. And so that was in October, and the doctor there actually said, we'll send you to a specialist, an orthopedic surgeon, and probably within a week, you'll be back to work. So I went and saw them a week later. They said, you still don't seem like you're fully back to yourself, so we're just gonna recommend some physical therapy, and they just told me to exercise as much as I could because it was muscular, and that would just make it better. So I was going to physical therapy 3 times a week, and I was working out at least 5 or 6 times a week. I was training for my half marathon still because I didn't think that I was making anything any worse. But the only thing that I knew was when I would leave physical therapy, I would always tell my physical therapist that it felt like my bones were like grinding together. And I would leave there in tears, and they would just say, oh, it's just muscular, you're fine. January of 2014, they referred me to a neurosurgeon in a different state up in Virginia, and I saw him, I think at the end of January, maybe beginning of February. And he basically said, I think your back's broken. Long story short, I ended up having my spinal fusion on May 1st of 2014, and I ended up with 3 titanium screws on each side of my spine, so 6 screws and 2 titanium rods that connect L4, L5, and S1, and then they took out one of my discs and they put in this little spacer to hold my vertebrae apart. I went into surgery, and I guess I just had no idea what to expect, and I didn't do a lot of research on what they were actually doing. I just figured it's gonna hurt, but I've been hurting since October. And so I just remember waking up and I couldn't see anything, and it was so blurry. But I remember the nurse coming over and kind of putting her head down next to mine, and she was just real perky, oh, and how's your pain? And all I remember is just saying 10, and they would put me back to sleep. And so she did this probably, from what I remember, at least 3 times, and they just do that to try and control your pain before they send you out into a regular ICU room. And the last time she woke me up, I think I said 8 maybe or something like that, and the doctor had told me going into it, you need to be honest on your pain scale. You've been in pain, but you need to be honest on your 1 to 10. If it's 10, you need to tell them 10. And I just remember trying to cry, and nothing would come out. It was such a strange feeling to me. And they rolled me out and gave me my glasses back. And my family met me in my room and came in, and at that point, within a week's time, I had gone from feeling so strong to just being so vulnerable, and just everything is so out of your control. And I still remember it was yesterday. He said, when we opened you up, we found that the fractures you had to L5 were complete. So basically, the front side and the back side were completely separated. So your spinal cord actually runs between them. So essentially, when they opened me up, he said he would touch this back piece on the outside of my spine, and it was just floating. And he basically said he had never seen anything like that, where someone wasn't paralyzed. And it probably took a good month for me to even feel like kind of normal again. And I was in that back brace from May through, I guess, the middle of August, maybe September. And so in August of 2014, there at the end, I was just like, okay, like, I can't feel bad for myself anymore. Like, this is it, and you're gonna feel this forever. So, you know, it's time to make that change to feel strong again. You know, to go from that, like, feeling strong and kind of feeling undefeated to feeling, you know, completely helpless and weak and like everything's out of your control, to now I own my own business and I'm training for a bodybuilding show. You know, I broke my back and opened a gym. It's still like so crazy to me to think about how that's even possible. And I'm just so excited to be able to share my story and, you know, to maybe be able to help encourage others with what they're struggling with, that it's worth it to work through the pain and that you're not alone. Guys with grateful eyes, oh, the dear of the sky.